From Montana's news leader, this is the MTN 530 News.
Good evening, everyone. Thanks for joining us. I'm Jeanelle Slade. Well, tonight we begin with a costly trend. A new crime wave in Billings takes thieves moments to do, but is having an expensive impact on businesses and residents. Well, in the last 6 months, companies with fleet vehicles are being forced to unload thousands of dollars on repairs. Thieves are stealing catalytic converters off of vans and trucks. As Q2's Andrea Lutz reports, this item serves as a precious commodity for recyclers.
Stolen. I've had customers that have cars that have had the converter stolen off of them in Rimrock Mall. A couple of the local church vans.
At Silent Night Custom Exhaust, owner Terry Collette holds a stack of invoices.
It's a lot of people's heartbreak, and I don't know what the cure is.
This is how many catalytic converters he's repaired in just 1 month. But this new epidemic of crime,
Approximately 140 cars
has been plaguing Billings
In what amount of time?
since August.
for months. Terry says these days a catalytic converter is a precious commodity.
The material that's inside of it is a precious trio of material. I believe it's platinum, palladium, and rhodium. It's almost infinitely recyclable.
Which draws big bucks in a matter of minutes with the use of a small hand tool.
Usually it's in the dark. They can crawl under something that's not very visible.
Lieutenant Brandon WOOLEY shows us where they've been tracking stolen items from in recent months. Most are commercial businesses with fleet vehicles.
Pickups, vans, SUVs. The catalytic converters are bigger, which can contain more of the precious metal that it has value to it. Those vehicles have higher ground clearance. That is easier for them to get underneath.
And local businesses are paying the price. Even downtown at our news station, an engineering truck of ours got hit. That's on top of Billings Public Works saying 4 of their converters were stolen off vehicles. And at a local county salvage yard, 30 of them were stolen off vehicles there.
Police say tracking this crime is near impossible because of no serial numbers.
This all kind of falls back to some of the drug trade too a little bit, is people are stealing this stuff to get money to support some type of a habit.
So here's what police say you should do. Keep your security cameras rolling in a well-lit area. Park your vehicle inside a garage if you can, or somewhere difficult for a thief to get underneath, because it can happen quite quick.
They can make a few $100 for 2 minutes worth of work and unlikely to get caught.
In Billings, Andrea Lutz, MTN News.
Thanks, Andrea. Now, police say look for anything suspicious. They say thieves nabbing large catalytic converters will need a large vehicle to do so, such as a pickup truck or a van. And if you have any information, call Billings Police to report it. Well, tonight, more details surrounding an attempted abduction in Lockwood and high-speed pursuit down I-94 yesterday. 34-year-old Terry Smith is being held on 3 felony charges, including kidnapping, as the woman he allegedly tried to abduct is recovering from injuries. Sheriff Mike Linder tells us that Smith tried to kidnap a woman he didn't know, but luckily the woman was able to fight him off and another citizen stepped in to help. When sheriff's deputies located the stolen vehicle in Huntley, a pursuit ensued. Montana Highway Patrol reports Smith eluded a first set of spike strips and ended up driving east in the westbound lane for several miles. At one point, an MHP trooper attempted an unsuccessful pit maneuver, which returned Smith to the proper lane for a short time, but he got back into the wrong lane for another 10 miles. One of the spike strips finally disabled the car. Smith took off on foot but was apprehended near the Pompey Pillars exit. Well, a woman is shot in an apparent road rage incident near downtown Billings. The 38-year-old victim is recovering in the hospital with what police are calling non-life-threatening injuries. It happened just before 10:30 last night on the 200 block of Avenue F. Authorities say they are investigating but do not have any suspects. And a clarification tonight in regard to a story we've been following. Yesterday, Billings police announced that last Friday's shooting death of 19-year-old Kane Streitz was now considered a homicide investigation. In our story at 10 o'clock last night, we reported that Streitz's family believed the shooting was an accident. Now, in a post the day after the shooting, Streitz's dad, Elder Tracy Starr, mentioned, quote, "This freak of an accident of 2 curious young men cost one his life." Now, to clarify, Starr told us That is what authorities told them the night of the shooting. That is not what the family said. In other news, as health officials continue to update COVID-19 numbers across our state, today we see a big bump in related deaths. In fact, 23 more deaths. This pushes the total toll across the state to just over 1,200. Now, it's important to point out that a majority of these are not new overnight deaths, but instead corrections that go back as far as October. Now, 8 of those additional deaths are reported in Rosebud County. Now, COVID-19 also wreaking havoc on a big college basketball week across the state, as both men's games between GRIZ and Cats have been canceled due to a positive case within Montana's program. The teams were scheduled to play tomorrow in Missoula and Saturday in Bozeman. There has been no official decision made on whether those games will be rescheduled. The women's games will go on as scheduled. Well, once there's enough supply, it appears many Yellowstone County residents plan on getting the COVID-19 vaccine. That's according to a Riverstone Health survey. Out of about 4,000 responses, 69% say they will definitely take the vaccine. 10% say probably. About 16% say definitely not or probably not because of concerns with side effects, safety, and enough testing. The survey also asked how much a threat the pandemic poses. 78% say it's a major threat for our nation's health. 76% say it's a major threat for Yellowstone County health, and 56% say it's a major threat for personal health. As for the financial aspect, 89% say it's a major threat for the U.S. economy, and 32% say it's a major threat for their personal financial situation. Well, that 79% is better than a Kaiser Family Foundation survey in December, showing 71% nationwide will definitely or will probably get vaccinated. Well, today, President Biden laid out his agenda on climate change, another series of executive actions aimed at elevating climate as a top national security and foreign policy issue. Now, the president's plans are already getting opposition from members of Congress and the oil and gas industry. Natalie Brand reports.
Today is Climate Day at the White House.
President Biden, who's called climate change one of the top 4 pressing challenges of the time, signed executive actions making it a top priority of his administration.
It's a whole-of-government approach. Put climate change at the center of our domestic, national security, and foreign policy.
The actions include setting goals to conserve 30% of federal land and water by 2030, as well as steps to double renewable energy production from offshore winds. It also directs the Secretary of Interior to freeze new oil and natural gas leases on public lands and offshore waters to the extent possible.
We're not going to ban fracking. We'll protect jobs and grow jobs.
The oil and gas industry has been critical of the president's climate plans, with the American Petroleum Institute charging it could lead to more dependence on foreign energy and job loss. Those concerns were echoed on Capitol Hill at the confirmation hearing for Energy Secretary nominee Jennifer Granholm.
A long-term ban is going to cut revenues to New Mexico and Wyoming by hundreds of millions of dollars.
The licenses that currently are operating are not going to be disrupted.
Members of the president's climate team say their focus is on creating the jobs of the future.
We can build that demand. We can actually grow significantly millions of clean energy jobs.
On the foreign policy front, the president is planning to host a World Leaders Climate Summit on Earth Day. Natalie Brand, CBS News, the White House.
President Biden's executive order banning new oil and gas leasing on federal lands and water is also drawing opposition from members of his own party. Today, a group of Texas Democratic Congress members sent the president a letter asking him to rescind the order, citing pandemic-related job and revenue loss. Up next on tonight's MTN 530 News on Q2, how do you know the information you consume and sometimes even share is legitimate? We'll dive deeper into credible sources with our latest news literacy story. Plus, a bridge that has withstood the elements for nearly 100 years is now in danger of collapsing. That story in just a bit.
Today we just couldn't catch a break, at least a break of sunshine as temperatures started off chilly and with fog and then clouds. Not much of a warm up, but we do have some hope for the future. We'll talk about that coming up.